Welcome back to Birch's Blessed Barbecue. My name is Michael Birch, and I'm going to show you how to make some tender, juicy, barky brisket. Let's get into it. We have our brisket. We picked this brisket up from our local Sam's. It's an 18-pound full packer brisket. Today, we're going to be cooking up a whole brisket. The first thing I like to do is trim it up. You don't have to. You could throw it on just like this. I like to trim it up a little bit, get it aerodynamic just so the bark develops how I want it to and that smoke's able to roll over and we don't end up with any thin edges that are burnt or dry at the end of it. We want to make sure every bite and every slice is the best. So first thing I like to do is just look at it so I know, take some of this fat off. I'm not going to mess with the silver skin too much. I'm going to remove this decal. It's all fat. We don't need that. I'm going to shape this up, this thin edge. Let's flip it over. We have this mohawk here with a lot of fat here, so we're going to trim that up to get it to lay flat. This other side right here, there's a lot of fat right here on this edge, so we're going to go ahead and take that off as well. I like to start on the meat side. After I do my investigation, we are going to start with this decal, move on to getting some of this extra fat off. Then I'll flip it over, remove the mohawk, get it laying flat, shape this top part off. And then we will round this off as well. Just make sure everything's rounded so there's no jagged edges and we get the brisket that we're looking for. So it's a natural seam line. We're just gonna follow this, keeping it flat and even with the meat itself. I'm not gonna dig into it too much at the moment. So we took this piece of fat off, and as you can see, if I cut it down the middle, it's all fat right there. So we don't need it. We could take some more of that decal off, but I just want to get started with that right there. I'm gonna lift it up. I can get my hand underneath this to get it to lay flat, and then I can follow the meat along. Just take off a little bit of that fat without taking off any meat. I'm not gonna get too detailed with this fat. Just want to take a little bit of it off because we do not need it. Let's flip this over. I'm gonna see what we're working with over here. As you can see, it's a full fat line right here. So we just want to get rid of some of that, which I'll come here, make a straight cut down the edge. We can see how much fat we have here and how much we want to take off. It's a big lump of fat right here. We don't need that. It's not going to help our brisket lay flat, and we want this to lay flat. So seeing where this big chunk of fat is, I'm going to dig in down here, cut off some of that. Now we have our guideline. After popping this up, come in down here, keep it even, come straight across, round it off here at the top. There we go. Still a little bit to even out right here, but we have our mohawk off. A little bit of meat in there. Save that for burgers, ground beef, tacos, whatever you like. But looking at it now, you can see we're already more aerodynamic and even here on this back end. I do want to shave this down some. See what we're working with, round off this edge. Let's go ahead and shape this brisket. This side right here is real thin compared to this side over here that's thicker, and we don't want that. It is going to burn and get dry. What I like to do is find that thickest point. I am going to flatten it out. And now we see all our thin point, and we want to come in about right here. So what I'll do is, when I come through, what I'll do to trim this is I'll come through. I don't want any that's sticking past this point. I want it aerodynamic and even. So what I'm gonna do is come straight along this point right here, and then I'm going to round this brisket off and come back up this way. That way we have a nice, even brisket. I'm gonna slice around here. Slice it across. Now on one piece, we have that whole rounded off, and that seems like a lot of trimming, and it is. It's an aggressive trim, but it's gonna allow for our brisket to be even, more aerodynamic, and give us the best slices that we're looking for. This does not have to go to waste. You save it, use it, cut this fat off, and turn it into whatever you would like. The purpose of today's video, we are trimming it pretty aggressive. We want a pretty looking brisket. We're gonna get this as even as possible. So right now, I'm flattening it down again, checking for hard places of fat. Take some of this fat off here. And as I come down, I'm gonna round the knife and cut down. Round this knife and cut down the extra. This brisket is looking perfect to me. Let's go ahead and make our seasoning. Black pepper, white pepper, sea salt, granulated garlic, granulated onion, smoked paprika, ground mustard, ground coriander, celery seed, thyme leaves, oregano, sumac. Give it a mix. Now that we have our rub, let's go ahead and get this brisket seasoned. I'm going to start on the meat side. We are cooking it fat side up, so I'm gonna go ahead and season the meat side first. And we want a nice, generous coating on there. It's a big piece of meat, it can take it. So I like to pop it up like this, hit the edges, make sure we get all those seasoned up. To come across there, hit the edges. We have 2 parts pepper to 1 part salt, so we can go a little bit more heavy on this brisket. And that pepper is gonna help create a beautiful bark. And that is what we're looking for on this brisket. So we're gonna get this covered nice and even. I've been waiting and excited to use this rub on brisket. This is the same rub that we used on the beef ribs in our first video. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. Those beef ribs were phenomenal. A dino beef ribs. Going no binder, so I'm gonna let this sit here just for a second to make sure this rub sticks on, and then I'll flip it over to the other side. Pat it in there. Now let's flip this over. That pepper heavy rub is gonna help us be the beautiful bark. And that final product is gonna be a tender, juicy, moist brisket. I think it's gonna turn out phenomenal with this rub. It's already bringing in a nice color with that smoked paprika. The bark is gonna be beautiful. The bark is gonna be wonderful with all this pepper on here. It's gonna really help us catch the smoke. Pat it in there. While we let this set in for 15-20 minutes, let's go ahead and fire up the pit. We're smoking on the Traeger Timberline XL today. We're rolling with some maple, some hickory, and some oak. We have the temp set to 250. I say this brisket is gonna take 10 to 12 hours. I would say about 9 to 10 on the smoker, and then we'll get it wrapped up. There's different ways to go about it, all right? We could do foil. We could do a foil boat. We could do butcher paper. You could do a combination of them as well. Today, we're gonna wrap it in some foil to finish it off in the oven at 300. That's gonna be the method we're showing you today. If you would like to see the butcher paper, if you would like to see the foil boat, let me know down below in the comments, and then we can make those videos happen. That does not change how we're cooking it throughout the process. That's just how we're gonna finish it. I think this brisket is gonna be amazing. It's been 10, 15 minutes. This bark is set. I say let's go ahead and get it on the smoker. We're going a couple racks up today. Nine hours later, we have our brisket. This bark is looking divine. It is feeling good. The fat feels like it is nice and rendered. We're gonna wrap this in some foil for another hour at 300 in the oven, and then finish it off. This brisket is sitting at 170, looking beautiful. We really want this finishing temp to be between 200 and 205 just until it's tender. So we're gonna put it in the oven for about an hour. After the brisket comes up to temp, we're gonna let it rest overnight. We're gonna do a heated rest, temperature at 145, just in the oven back here. And then tomorrow, it'll be well rested. Then we get to get into that tender, juicy brisket. I'll see you for lunch tomorrow. One overnight rest later. It is smelling phenomenal. Let's go ahead and get it unwrapped. It's looking beautiful. We're gonna save these juices that are in here. This bark is just divine. Feeling nice and tender. This is looking beautiful. That is some divine bark right there. Smelling amazing. Just take a look at it. Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. Nice and pliable, feeling nice and tender. Yeah, it's just flapping, ain't it? Look at that bark. It is jiggling. It has that bounce back. I say let's go ahead and slice into it and see what we're looking like. We have our point right here and our flat right here. What does that mean? We have two different muscles of how the grain is running. So we're gonna slice it down the middle, then we'll slice this part, then we'll turn this part and slice it. Let's see what we're looking like. Man. It's that tender, juicy brisket right there. Tender, just like butter. Let's take a look at it. Looking nice and juicy. Look at these juices running. Now we have our point, then we have our flat. Look at that. Here we go. This is what we call our lean and our fatty. So we'll turn this one, keep this one this way. Let's get it as a couple slices. Tender. This feels like butter. There we go. We're gonna cut this point in over here, and that's where we're gonna get our burn ends from this brisket. So we're gonna angle this knife right here. Slice down. It's looking nice and beautiful. Then we'll flip this over. Off the lean. It's that juicy. This brisket is juicy. We have our burn ends right here. Wow, tender, tender, tender. Take a look at this burn end. Yeah. It's looking beautiful. Then we have one of our slices holding up on its own weight. But if I wanted to, yeah. Let's slice off some of this fatty. All right, look at that. All right, good, nice and beautiful. Nice and juicy. We have some nice fat rendering in there. I'm ready to eat. Let's eat. This time for our taste test. After 10 hours and an overnight rest, it's time just to dive in and eat. Smelling amazing. Bark is looking phenomenal. Look at the burn in. Look at the burn in. Beautiful barky. Tender. Moist. We also have our fatty piece right here. Juicy. Tender. Still holding up though. So some structure. Then we have our lean here. Look at that. Tender, still holding up on his own weight. We're gonna start with the lean piece here. I'm gonna cut off a little sliver. Start with that. We have a nice piece of the lean. Let's go ahead and get into it. Dang, that's good. And that's the lean. That's not even us getting into the fatty, but it is tender. It is moist. And that bark is phenomenal. Now let's move into the fatty. Dang, that's good. Dang, that's good. Dang. Look at this brisket. We gotta go in. We gotta go in for the burn in. I like the corner piece right there with most of the bark. Let's go ahead and go in for this. Dang, that's good. Dang, that's good. Dang. Yeah, that brisket. Well worth the wait. That rub. It's a nice balanced rub. It's pepper heavy. That's what helped us form this bark right here. Pepper heavy rub helped form this bark. It is looking beautiful. Flavor is amazing. I could go over it with another like seasoning salt. I could go over it with some seasoning salt. It just needs a little bit more salt in this rub, which is good because it's pepper heavy, so we can put more on it and get the bark. Just come back over it with a seasoning salt. Yeah. It just needs a little bit more pop. A little bit more pop, and that's what that salt would add. It's worth it. If you haven't made a brisket, this is how to make a brisket on the pellet grill. Nice and easy. Set it the temp at 250 and let it ride. I didn't do anything with it. I just watched it, checked in on it a few times. And after 9 hours, it was ready. My bark was set how I like it. It was sitting at 170. Wrapped it, put it in the oven at 300 until it hit 200 to 205. It was sitting at that 202 range. Let it rest overnight. Then we come to you with this. Right. I'll put it on this lean. It's a little bit more salt. A little bit more salt on there. Yeah. Here we go. It was there. It was wonderful. Just a tad bit more salt, which we don't want to oversalt the rub, so having a secondary rub that we can go over the top with it. Yeah. I just want to leave you with, stay focused. Cut out all the noise. You know what you're doing is for you. If you keep listening to what others have to say about what you're doing, you'll never be able to get to where you're going. They don't know where you're going. They just think they know how you should live your life. So it's okay. They're going to talk about you. They're going to have their opinions. So develop the skill of separation, being able to be alone, being able to walk with yourself, because they don't have the same dreams. They don't have the same vision that God gave to you. So you have to be willing to separate yourself. You have to be willing to walk alone. I know there was a lot of talk before. I don't think I've heard it much, but since you have to be willing to go eat alone, right? Once you're willing to eat alone, people saying no to coming to eat with you doesn't matter. You already have your table. You have your food. You have your brisket. You go ahead and eat. And those that belong at your table will eventually come along and be like, hey, come on, have a seat. Right? You have a seat. Here's your brisket. And enjoy. But if they're not on the same path as you, they don't have the same vision, they don't have the same morals, the same mindset. We all have our skills. And when we come together as a team, we can build and grow. But if they have their own agenda and you have your agenda and their agenda goes against your agenda, we have to be willing to separate. And that's what the greats do. We separate ourselves, right? We separate ourselves. If something's not serving us, we separate ourselves. And you don't have to make some big announcement on why you're not hanging around them no more. You're not going to these places no more. You know why. You don't have to explain yourself. You just tell, hey, I won't be going around them no more. Remove access, right? Access to you is a privilege. And you've worked so hard to get to this place of peace and this place that you know and love yourself. And anybody that's coming in that's going against that or speaking against that, hey, get up and go, right? They are dismissed. Access revoked. Access denied, right? That doesn't mean you don't have love for them. Like, you want them to so succeed, but in their own way, right? In their own lane. They don't have to be doing what you're doing on the same path as you. It's just like, hey, we need create some distance, right? You go over there and do what you're doing. I'm going to stay over here and do what I'm doing. You stay over here and do what you're doing. I'm going to stay right here and do what I'm doing. And I'm living phenomenal, right? Because there's people talking about me right now. They don't like what I'm doing. And they're having conversations about me behind my back. I'm still doing what I need to do. In the midst of filming this video and prepping for this video, there's people having conversations about me recording videos. Right? And this video is still getting done. I don't care what they have to say. Right? They'll see the final product. If they don't like it, if they don't watch it, what does that have to do with me? All I care about is what we have going on. We're here together. You love the videos and I love making them for you. With that being said, if there's any other videos that you would like to see, leave me a comment down below. If you enjoyed this brisket cook, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you choose to cook a brisket, choose to try out that rub. First brisket, multiple brisket, I would love to see what you're cooking. Tag me at Birch's Best BBQ on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. The noise is just noise. And we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. But there's a difference. I just heard this yesterday. There's a difference, right? And I used to say, learn from your mistakes, right? If you learn from your mistakes, then it become a lesson. But if you don't learn from your mistakes, then it's failure. To avoid the failure, just learn from your mistakes. And when you have a mistake and you learn from it, then it becomes an experience. Hey. Stop sitting around pouting, feeling bad about yourself because you messed up. You didn't mess up, you learned. Remember, say it with me. You didn't mess up, you learned. You made a mistake, learn from it. Right? If we take it to food, if we take it to anything else in life, if we feel like we messed up, we learned. And now we have an experience that can help us elevate to the next level. Then we can come together and have these conversations to help each other grow. I love you. I'm out. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.